Is this thing on?
Are you ready, Matt?
You're listening to Box Office Bingers
with Matt Diaz and Ernesto Santos.
Good evening, folks. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Box Office Bingers.
And the only way that I know how to do it is to find you a bloody good double.
He's my friend. I don't have friends. I got family.
I can do this all day.
You know, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Now we're going to move over to our second spoiler review of the week, which is The Sound of Metal, which is available to stream on Amazon Prime. Ernesto, you kind of teased us a little bit early. You said, and quote, that was a fucking good movie.
No, it was a fucking incredible movie. Like I did not expect this I didn't expect this at all from this movie. Right off the bat, the strongest thing about this movie is the sound design. This movie
absolutely.
For Oscars, this movie needs to be nominated, if not win, for sound design alone. Like
sound editing, sound mixing for sure.
Really all of it.
Yeah.
Like all of it, because they're so because it's about him going deaf. I feel like they made that a center point of the film, and they used it so like effectively. I actually would recommend, because I watched it with my noise canceling headphones, and I felt like I got a little bit more, because there's like a bunch of little sounds. You know, when you go back and forth between his hearing and non-hearing, I just feel like it's like an added element. Like it just pulls
absolutely.
I was able to be pulled right in.
It definitely sucks you in. I was watching it with my surround sound, and there were even moments in it where I was like, oh, damn, is there something wrong with my ear? No, I hear this ringing right now.
Yeah, I mean, and then they show you, and then it's interesting that they show you, like, how he's going deaf. Like, right in the beginning, you know, right there in the record store, you know, it just switched to that high-pitched ringing. It's like out of nowhere, you know?
Like, I mean, you make a good point. That came, like, literally, like, one day he was fine. Literally the next minute, it was, like, instantly. He lost his hearing.
And it was just like a constant deterioration from
there.
Yeah. You know, the sounds in the record store, just in that whole opening montage where he's juicing and he's showering and he's playing music, and then they show you the same sequence, but then there's like just ringing, and you can and they show you his face, and you can see like the death in his eyes. Like, actually, you know, I really wished I had watched this movie before the Golden Globes, because I probably would have put some noms towards this film. Like, well, granted, it didn't win, because it was I think Riz Ahmed was nominated for Best Actor, right?
Yeah, and that was the only thing that this film was nominated for.
See, but that was hard against Daniel Kaluuya, but
yeah,
it would have.
Well, Daniel,
to me, that's a hard contender.
Daniel Kaluuya was actually, you know, nominated for Best Supporting Actor. So Riz, what's his name again? Riz
Ahmed.
Ahmed, yes. He was, you know, in the same category as Chadwick Boseman and Anthony Hopkins and Gary Oldman. So, yeah.
All right. Well, he lost to Chadwick Boseman. It's an honorary loss because.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't beat Chadwick, but I'm at least glad that he was nominated. But he was up. He had a rough
competition.
He had rough competition.
And I feel like that he will probably be nominated for an Oscar because his performance was...
He better fucking be nominated for an Oscar. I actually think that this movie should be nominated for Best Picture.
Best Picture, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you.
The fact that it wasn't even in the conversation for the Golden Globes blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you.
You're going to tell me that Mank was nominated over this movie? Get the fuck out of here. What the fuck are they talking about? Did you watch the same movie? You look at Mank, oh yeah, and then you look at this film. I don't get it. Whatever. I digress. Like, I feel like within, like, the movie captures your attention right within the first 15 minutes. You know, you get that intense scene after they see the program director when he's banging shit around the RV, like, when he's just really coming to terms of being deaf now. Like, Riz Ahmed, like, just his performance was incredible. And then that's when you see that turnaround with his girlfriend, and him and his girlfriend have that really touching goodbye in that right there in that part of the movie. It's funny because I watched, and I'm going to link the YouTube video when we post the episode. there's like a 30-minute Q&A that they do with all the cast and the crew. And the girl who played his girlfriend said that they shot the movie chronologically.
Oh,
so like
okay.
when they say goodbye, like she actually didn't see him for like a month and a half after that.
Oh, well,
So like
yeah.
when they saw each other on screen, like it was very real, like of the time that they had spent apart. Like they just wanted to add that authenticity to it. And she said it was kind of strange because obviously, like when she leaves, the next part of the film is his journey with the, you know, at the like I guess you would call it like a halfway house for deaf people almost.
Yeah, I mean it was more like a rehabilitation center.
Yeah, like a rehab center for deaf people. And she said, you know, everybody was just very emotional. It was just very hard because I was away for a month, and it was just like this really, there was like this really intense energy surrounding, and it made sense because, you know, this little 30-minute video like really opened the light to a lot of the things that happened during filming. Like, you know, they actually used deaf actors. You know, Riz Ahmed is not deaf himself, but he actually put a hearing aid with white noise to give him the feeling of being deaf.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to see what else I got in my notes.
You named the actress's name is Olivia Cook.
Olivia Cook. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, I just like you really thought the movie was gonna go one way because you see him getting excited at the practice. They get him into the mood of journaling, getting up early, and like what he needed to do. And then once he got the surgery, you just see like obviously you see that complete shift in the film when he gets kicked out of when he gets kicked out. I thought it was a cool scene when, you know, they put the implant in, you know, and afterwards you're here once again, a credit to the sound design, and his hearing is like it's like robotic almost, like a bad telephone connection.
It's almost like it's the sound of metal.
Yeah, literally. That's a good point. It literally sounds like the sound of metal. You know, the ending was beautiful. I think it was. You know, he came to the realization after, you know, he saw Olivia Cook, his girlfriend, again, and saw her like kind of restarting her life. And you know what was really great to him is that through his growth, he could have easily tried to drag her back, but he just like he saw that he needed to let her go. Yeah. You know, and he came to terms. Just seeing him come to terms with that, so it was just interesting.
I felt like, excuse me, I felt like that throughout the film, there was a sense where you didn't know what was going to happen next. You have like, especially when it happened in the beginning, like obviously he was just like, I just want to fix this problem. Like, all right, what I gotta do? Money? That's not a big deal. I'll figure out money. You know, money's not a big deal. And so you see him, and you almost feel like he's gonna go to aggression, like he's gonna be like mad and angry at times. And when the movie didn't go in that direction, I was kind of surprised because he's like, you know, he is mad and frustrated, obviously, but I felt like he accepted the program more than I thought he was going to. Like, I think the movie kind of fast forwarded a couple months, and like they didn't really show you the struggle of him learning sign language. It was like 1 or 2 days where he was getting introduced with everybody, and then the next scene you see him like getting into a routine, going into the room, writing a couple things, visiting the children, learning how to do sign language that way, end up being a good role model for the kids. And like you start really kind of cheering him on a little bit. Like you can tell that he's becoming a changed man. And then the heartbreaking part about this story is that he knew that was happening to him when he got offered the job to like, hey, we can probably get you working at a job somewhere. You know, the kids like you, the people at this house like you. You know, you're really being a big part of this community. And that conversation right there really set him off into like a different direction. One that by the end of the movie you knew he regretted. Yeah. That direction being of him like, I really got to fix my current deafness, so to speak, and he like sold all of his sound equipment. He sold his RV, basically his home, all to get up to maybe it was hard to do the movie math on how much the surgery was. In the beginning of the movie, they said it could cost anywhere from $40,000 to $80,000. He ended up selling his RV for $26,000. So maybe with all the sound equipment, he was close to the number. And he had the surgery. And you were almost like, but you were doing so good. Why did you do that? Why did you get the surgery?
He was literally, and what's funny is that like he did all that for nothing.
Yeah,
he was
did.
On the verge. He like literally. He was at a turning point where he could have like settled into a beautiful new life.
Mm-hmm.
Like working there, helping those kids. But I mean, I guess he was an addict at heart, and he was addicted to the love that she was giving him, and he felt that was more important than him getting better for himself.
Right. And I thought we were going to go down the line of like maybe the love of music, and you really wanted to go back to that, but music at the end of the day played a very small role into this whole film.
Almost not at all. It just, if anything, it was just to show how he became deaf.
Right, exactly. And obviously music played a little bit toward the end and was like the looming factor in the background of the story, but that wasn't the main focus of the story. But that scene when after he comes back from his surgery and he sits down with I think the character's name is Joe. Yeah, when he sits down with Joe, I was almost in tears. Like it was such a heartbreaking scene. Like, well, even before that, because no, it was after that. But he came in, he was like, "So I got the surgery." He's like, Joe's like, "All right, yeah, I see. You made your choice, but ultimately I need to make a choice too, and you can't live here anymore." Like you can feel the like disappointment and the heartbreak that Joe had for Ruben for getting that surgery. He's like, why did you do that? You know what this program is. And he constantly said that being deaf is not
a handicap.
Yeah, being deaf is not a handicap. And from where I'm sitting, you look like an addict right now for getting the surgery, for wanting to, fix something. Like, there was nothing to fix. It was just something to adjust to. This is your life now. And he couldn't handle that. And like, the back and forth that they had, he was like, the way that, I mean, all credit to his performance, he definitely felt like an addict. He's like, so I sold my house, but if I can just borrow the money to get my house back. He's like,
and you just see it on Joe's face. He's like, it's almost like he was like appalled that he even asked him.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know what you put yourself in, but that sounds like your problem. Like,
it
sounds like
pretty
a problem
much
that you need to figure out.
And then he was like, all right, I'm sorry I asked, but, can I just stay here for like 3 to 4 more weeks? Because, that's how long it is until like, I'm fully healed. And he's like, sounds like your problem again, man. It's like, you know what this house is, you know what this house represents, and who am I to set that example if I let you live here? Everyone else. Yeah, he's absolutely right. And to me, that was like heartbreaking. Like, fuck, man, I really like both of these characters. That to see that transpire, just like, I feel like you just made a bad decision, but like it was a decision that you couldn't come back from. And it was just like maybe almost like a moment of relapse. Like he relapsed, as an addict can do sometimes. And with that, it kind of, he ended up living in a hotel for probably that time. And then the second heartbreaking moment was when he was first able to hear for the first time, when they activated the implants, and all you hear is this staticky sounds and like muffled, distorted sounds. He's like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for. And the doctor's like, well, you have to, this isn't, this is not curing your hearing. We're kind of tricking the brain for you to hear these sounds again. So it's not going to sound perfect. And I almost felt like he had a moment of like, well, why didn't someone fucking tell me that in the first place? But you can see it in his face, like the heartbreak. I'm like, especially in his eyes, he's like, no, I made a mistake.
Yeah. I think a lot of credit goes to Paul Raci, the guy who played Joe.
Yeah.
He actually in the interview he stated that that this movie was true to his heart because both of his parents grew up deaf. So he already has empathy for the deaf community.
And I'm sure the director really wanted to, make it authentic as possible. Just like, Chloe Zhao in Nomadland, making it as authentic and real as possible. I felt like this movie was treated with the same kind of care.
Well, yeah, the director, Darius Marder, if you notice at the end of the movie, there's a dedication that's actually, it's to his grandmother who fought for like having open captioning because she went deaf later on in her life, and she worked in the film industry as well. So
oh wow,
like it was like a big thing that he wanted it to be for her.
Yeah, and even I'm not sure if you watched the movie with subtitles, Ernesto, but there were some points where they on the subtitles they translated what they were assigning to each other. That I felt like if you didn't have the subtitles on, I don't think that would have been translated. So I recommend watching this movie with subtitles because you might get some added dialogue that was in there. Also, I thought it was kind of cool, like, he was kind of getting adjusted to the community, and he's like drawing this naked girl, and he was like, they're trying to put her as a tattoo for his friend that he made while he was there. I thought that was kind of like a nice, sweet moment. And also another sweet moment when he was like with the kid in the playground. It looks like the kid was having a hard time sitting still, something that Ruben could relate to.
Yep.
And then they're just kind of just banging on the steel slide.
Feeling the vibrations.
I don't know. It was, and then again, you go back to the end. He finally meets up with his girlfriend, Olivia Cook, who plays Lou in the film, and he sees that she's moving on. She looks better. She feels better. Her hair is different. Obviously, there was a lot of like good moments that she's living a healthier lifestyle. And you can even see like, he's having a hard time hearing in the party. And then when they sing, it was a beautiful transition to hear the actual, they were singing the song and then it slowly transitioned to what he's hearing. And it's like this disgusting, staticky, distorted sound. And you can tell that he's trying, but he knows that he doesn't like it. This is
not what I wanted.
Right. And then, like you said, he lets her go, which was very admirable from him. But then it had that beautiful ending with like him just sitting on a bench and, all of these sounds are happening around him in the street. And he just like, not aggressively, but like, a little bit of force, he takes them off and then it's just pure silence. And he's like, yeah.
See, I felt like that was a callback to Joe in the beginning, where he first tells him about where he sets him up in his office and to just have that moment of silence is like, it wasn't until he let Lou go and he realized he didn't have anything else that he couldn't. Now is when he can finally have that moment of silence. Now he felt like he was at his end's rope. I mean, what the fuck is he gonna do now?
Well, that's a very good question. At this point, does he go back to Joe at this theatrical? Like, if there was 10 more minutes in this movie, do you see him kind of going back with Joe and maybe kind of pleading his case, like, look, man, I was wrong?
Or he burned that bridge.
You think he burned that bridge?
Oh, yeah. 100%. He's not gonna, because Joe told him, he goes, there's too many others at stake than to let you stay here.
Yeah. It was a very powerful movie. I teared up. It was an emotional movie.
A lot of great movies. This movie's high on my list. This is definitely one of the top ones, at least so far for 2021. Like,
yeah.
But it's technically came out last year, right?
Yeah, it came out December of last year. So if we would have watched this, last year would have been in our 2020, best of. But I'm in totally agreement of you. This was, if we're talking Oscars territory, and this is a hard compare. Say if we see the nominees come up and we see Judas and the Black Messiah and Sound of Metal and the Trial of Chicago 7, I'd be like, oh boy, we have a lot of good contenders here. Nomadland is like, this is a nice.
I would sooner nominate Malcolm and Marie than nominate Mank.
I wasn't expecting that. That was pretty good. And that one too.
Yeah.
I don't like this. Like Nomadland is a good contender for a Best Picture winner, but it's not to say it's not going to get there without a fight, though. Like we have some real like if all these movies are nominated, it's a good race.
It is. It's going to be good, but I feel like this one's pretty. It's a strong contender.
It is, and also I feel like the story, and now kind of comparing this a little bit to what we reviewed last week with Nomadland, I feel like the story hits me a little bit stronger than Nomadland, just a little bit stronger.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie. It was like I watched this toward the end of my night yesterday, Sound of Metal, and I felt like this might have been a moment where I'm like, oh, I might fall asleep. Maybe I'll watch it, the next day. I was up the whole time, like fully engrossed. It wasn't until my phone went off for something where I had to pause it for a second. I'm like, whoa, an hour and a half just went by? Damn.
Like where did the time go?
I could have seen another 2 hours of this movie.
100%. Like,
yeah.
And that's the other thing. Like this movie, it's a pretty long movie. It's like almost 2 hours. It's 2 hours
almost
long.
2 hours. Yeah.
I would watch this movie again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I didn't watch this movie with Megan, so whenever she comes back and like, I would recommend something, I'm like, I'll watch this again with you, because I was like, it's such a powerful movie. I felt like our last 3 weeks of reviews have been really solid on what we've been able to watch, because Judas and the Black Messiah, Nomadland, and now Sound of Metal, definitely like great back-to-backs that we've been able to watch, and like do our spoiler review on these. But yeah, so final thoughts on Sound of Metal.
Final thoughts. Incredible movie. It needs to be nominated, if not win, for sound design, sound mixing, anything that it can win for sound. It needs to win. And Riz Ahmed, man, it's gonna be tough to win Best Actor for Oscar, but at the very least, he needs to be nominated in this movie. I would actually say for directing, sound design, and Best Picture, and Best Actor, and maybe even Best Supporting for Paul Ricci for his for playing Joe. He brought a whole nother energy to that film.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. It was such a beautiful film. The story was strong. Like the way that the film kind of captures you, specifically and especially with the sound. The sound is what draws you in, and and kind of the hats off go to even editing of this movie. The decision to show you the scenes where we're hearing what he's hearing compared to showing you the scenes where you can hear what's going on. The transition between those scenes, the moment where like sound plays a huge part in this movie, and like because you were within this whole atmosphere this whole time, dealing with different versions of what he's hearing, what you normally hear, what a movie should normally sound like, getting to the point where he literally hears the sound of metal. It's just like, oh man, that's just great filmmaking. So definitely one of the best movies. It definitely deserves all the noms that it will get, and hopefully it gets more than what the Golden Globes give it. Hopefully the Oscar gives it more than what the Golden Globes gave it. So yeah, all in all, fantastic film. Definitely recommend people to watch it. Sound of Metal on Amazon Prime.
Go do it.
Hey, thanks for listening to this edited version of our weekly podcast, Box Office Bingers. If you want to hear the full version of all of our episodes, which includes us discussing entertainment news, movie and TV reviews, guest interviews, and other things we've been watching, you can find us on wherever you listen to podcasts.
And if you want more from us, be sure to hit that subscribe button and find us on our social media channels on Instagram at boxoffice_bingers, Facebook at boxofficebingers, email at boxofficebingers@gmail.com, and Matt, we're even on the Tiki-Takis. We're on the Tiki-Takis at Box Office Bingers. Once again, thanks for listening.